today is such a fun video because I will be showing you guys my newest bookshelf, which has turned out to be my absolute favorite. I love how it looks so much, and it is my classics shelf. So without further ado, let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna start at the top, and I'm sorry if the lighting is a little blinding, but we're just gonna start at the top, and I have a plant right here, which is still recovering from being knocked over by Willow. And then I have this really cool frame picture of my cat Rocky, and the frame I got at a thrift store, and I think it's so cool. And it's sitting on top of my Jules Verne collections because this book is too tall to fit on the shelves. So that is the top of it. Moving down, we have all of my Harvard classics, and starting over here, we have a collection of The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. I think his first name is John, and then a story by Isaac Walton. I'm not sure what the story's called. It's slipping my mind right now. But then we have Don Quixote by Cervantes. Oh, the camera is focusing. I'm not sure if that's how you say his last name. I did have to Google how to say Don Quixote. And then we have a collection of stories by Ralph Waldo Emerson, a collection of the Greek epics by Homer, and then Christopher Marlowe and Shakespeare plays. And then I have this cool bookend, which is part of a set, but I just decided to use one here. And then I have my little poetry collection, which is I'll pull it out. Thoughts Concerning the King. And then I have all of my two little poetry collections by Edgar Allan Poe and Emily Dickinson, and then a paperback Harvard classic, which has Laurence Stern's The Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy, and then Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And surprisingly, I found all 5 of these at thrift stores, various thrift stores, and then at the Friends of the Library at my local library, which is crazy that I found all of the matching ones. But that is my Harvard hardbound classics and then poetry collection. If the camera starts shaking a lot, it's because where this bookshelf is, it's a very narrow space because it's right next to the end of my bed, so there's not a lot of room to move, and so the camera might be super shaky at times. But on my third shelf, I have my 4 volumes of the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon, and then this little bookend on top of it. And then I just have my playbooks, which are Greek plays in modern translation, the Anton Chekhov plays, and then Shakespeare Volume 1 plays. So yeah, this shelf, I really love how this one looks. The Roman Empire books are too tall to stand up, so I had to lay them on their side like that, but I think it turned out looking pretty nice, and it's one of my favorite shelves on this bookcase. Here's Mr. Big Boy, who's been supervising this little video. He loves this blanket so much. I'll have to show you guys because it looks super cute next to the bookcase. But here is sort of like my pretty classics. So starting off, we have the Little Women collection by Louisa May Alcott, and that's got Little Women, Little Men, and Jo's Boys. And then next to that, we have the Canterbury Classics edition of the complete novels of Jane Austen. I will say at Barnes & Noble, I saw a blue one and in the complete novels, but it was blue and it was so pretty, and I almost thought about getting it, but I told myself no because I already have this one. But this has all of the Jane Austen novels, and I've read half of them because there's 6. And then next to that we have the Aesop's Fables illustrated. This is one of my prettiest books, and I think it's so gorgeous. And the inside is super pretty too. I don't know if I'll be able to... Okay, there we go. And then next to that, I have all of my cloth bounds. So we have Villette by Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Tenant of Vaudeville Hall by Anne Bronte, and Watership Down by Richard Adams. This is definitely another one of my prettiest books, but I'm not going to pull it out because I think I've I've probably shown it before, and also it would just be hard to get back in because I do have my copy of Pride and Prejudice cloth-bound up on the top. And yeah, these are some of my, like I said, most gorgeous books, and I love them all. And I have read the majority on this shelf. I think, yeah, I just have to read Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre and then the other books in here. And I have not yet read the Aesop's Fables, but everything other than that is read. The lighting is gonna get a little iffy from here on out, but this is my just random classics. I do have to pull this one out because it's so cool. I got this at the Friends of the Library, my local library, so I highly recommend looking for books there. And this is Familiar Quotations by John Bartlett. But what's really, really cool, and I'm gonna do my best one-handed to get it out and show you guys, in this book there is a letter from the White House to this woman, Mrs. L.E. Eberling, thanking her for her service during World War II as a volunteer for the Office of Price Administration. And I think it's so cool. I mean, I was shocked when I found this. So I highly recommend looking for books at if you have one, Friends of the Library at your local library. The camera's work is going to be iffy as I put this paper back inside the book. Okay, back to center. But yeah, this book is so cool. Ooh. Try and fit it in there. I think it's from 1930 something. But then next to that, I have my Mark Twain collection of stories, which is The Celebrated Jumping Frogs and Other Stories. And then I have the two Harper Lee books, which are Go Set a Watchman and To Kill a Mockingbird. And then I have Little Men by Louisa May Alcott, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, 1984 by George Orwell, and then Great Expectations and A Christmas Carol and Other Stories by Charles Dickens. I'm currently reading Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. And then I have my little sculpture of Michelangelo's Moses. And then these are two old children's books, and that's Joan of Arc and Robin Hood. They're pretty much falling apart, so I'm not gonna pull them out, especially Robin Hood's falling apart. But these are absolute treasures, especially the Joan of Arc one. I have read that, and I love it so much. I'm not sure how this shelf is gonna work, just because the carpet is right there on the floor, and like I said, this is in between my bed and the wall, so there is literally not much space. This bookshelf takes up the entire space. These are my children's classics, and I know Little Men is a children's classics, but it doesn't fit on the shelf, so it stays up on the shelf above it. But we have my 4 classics to grow on, which are King Arthur and His Knights, the collection put together by Mary McLeod, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the Marvelous Land of Oz by L. Frank Baum. I cannot see very well. And then Robin Hood by Henry Gilbert, and The Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper. And then next to that, I have Jane of Lantern Hill by L.M. Montgomery, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, Stuart Little by E.B. White, and then this is my really old copy of Anne of Green Gables, and it is falling apart, but it is really cool. I think this is the 1937 edition. It is definitely falling apart, but it's got some writing in it from 1964 as, I believe, a birthday present from this person's mother and father, and I think it's super, super cool. I don't know if I can fit this back in there. Okay. And then next to that, we have The Wind in the Willows and Other Stories, which I might get rid of. You'll hear my thoughts on that in the February wrap-up. But that's by Kenneth Grahame. And then we have Tales from the Arabian Nights, which doesn't have an author. And then my 3 Pippi Longstocking books by, I think, Astrid Longren? I can't see her last name, but I think her first name is Astrid, which is a really cool first name. But those are Pippi Longstocking, Pippi Goes on Board, and Pippi in the South Sea. And then we have Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, which I wanted to get a Barnes & Noble collection of the Winnie Pooh books, but they didn't have the collection there, so I might have to get that online. And then finally, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, which should go up next to the other Mark Twain book I have, but it just stays here. But yeah, that is my last shelf on my classics shelf, my children's classics, and I do love this shelf a lot, and I'm really excited to read a lot of these books, especially Jane of Lantern Hill. I'm super looking forward to that one. Really all of them, to be honest. Here's just a pulled back look. As you can see, there's the end of my bed with Mr. Peak. This really cute little blanket that is folded. But here's just a final little overview. I'm really proud of this shelf, and it honestly was quite easy to build, and it fits like perfectly. But that is my newest shelf, my wonderful, beautiful classic shelf. It's unrelated, but I wanted to show you guys. This is next to my white bookshelf that you guys have seen before. And this is a puzzle I glued together, and it's so cool. It's like all of the famous fairy tales. So you have Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Peter Rabbit, Mother Goose, King Arthur, Pinocchio, Alice in Wonderland, The Three Little Pigs, Red Riding Hood up in the corner, oh, there. And then it's got some actual books in the back, and I think it's so cool. I just had to show you guys because I've been waiting to frame this for a very, very long time. Quick little outro. I am sitting on the floor because it's easier. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the book tour. It really wasn't that long of a video because it's not a very big bookcase. I am thinking of filming like a whole room tour, maybe. But my room hasn't changed that much, and my bookcases are definitely the main focal point of it. So, we'll see. I just have some cool decorations that I think it would be fun to talk about together. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all so much for the support on the channel and the videos, and I hope you guys have a great day, and goodbye.